Welcome to the Chuck-n-Deb Show, heard each Wednesday afternoon at 4 p.m. here on 1490 AM WWPR. And now, here's Chuck and Deb.
Hi, I'm Chuck.
And Deb, and welcome to the Chuck-n-Deb Show.
Hey, we are so truly grateful and thankful that you've joined us today. We have a fantastic show lined up for you, and you're going to want to stick through the entire show and tune in until the very, very end, because you're going to love exactly what we've got planned for you.
So the Chuck-n-Deb Show is about the truth behind the motorcycle mystique and inspiring real-life stories that will help you discover your purpose, find true freedom, and define your destiny. So with the pre-ride safety briefing behind us, it's time for kickstands up and let the good times roll.
Let those good times roll. All right, so we've got some sponsors we want to let you know about that really keep us on the air to you. So, Deb, who are those sponsors and what are they all about? What do they have for everybody listening today?
So today's sponsors are brought to you by Tony and Guy Hairdressing Academy from Colorado Springs, Colorado and Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. If you're looking for a cutting-edge education and instruction from the industry's leading methodology in both cut and color, then contact them right now to seek enrollment into this highly sought-after career. So be sure and visit the chucknddebshow.com and the sponsor page to get more information about Tony and Guy Hairdressing Academy, Colorado Springs, Colorado, and Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
So what exactly is that highly sought-after career?
That's a career in hairdressing, cosmetology, barbering. It names a lot of different things.
Okay, so they've got quite a bit to offer, and they have they're really well known. I mean,
Yes.
I don't know if people in the area know them, but they're very well known. Tony and Guy's got a big name across the country.
A huge name, not only across our country, but across the world, because
Oh, is
they're
that right?
very European known. The UK, they're a very big name in the UK. So Tony and Guy Hairdressing Academy is an upper end, higher scale salon. So if you're really looking to get into the industry of hairdressing, cosmetology, barbering, this education, but the schools offer an education that's going to start your career where many people in other areas actually end up. So it's phenomenal.
So apparently, being a Tony and Guy student can actually work really well toward their career if this is something they're interested in. And you know what gets me, Deb, is we've got these sponsors that are basically from out of town. They're not local here, and they have hairdressing academies in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. So that what that means to me is you don't have to live in those places to go to school there. It's just like going to college. It's actually in essence getting like a college degree in a way. I mean, not really. I mean, not
It
quite
is.
a college. Well, it's a degree.
It's a technical education.
It's a technical
yes.
education in a way. So people go away to college. Why wouldn't they go away to learn how to do hairdressing?
They would.
They could.
They would
and you know
should.
what's really cool about it all? I have been to both of those places.
They're beautiful.
And they're absolutely, you would want to be, at the base of Pikes Peak in Colorado Springs, that you get to see that beautiful view every day. And then in Coeur d'Alene, I know they have a beautiful lake there.
Right,
and
gorgeous.
it's just, both of them are beautiful places. And for the most part, and I got to be honest, for the most part, the people are very nice there. I think Coeur d'Alene, the people are a little bit more nicer than the people in Colorado Springs.
A little bit more nicer. Is that a good
Well, I
word
don't
to
know.
say? But
and of course,
anyway.
that's just me, so that really doesn't mean anything, but that's just my take on it. But anyway, back to that.
Yes.
Hey, listen, if you seriously are looking to do something with your career, and we are talking up our sponsors because they're our
so
sponsors.
graciously sponsored
And not
us.
only that, because they provide a great service, they're a well-known name, and if you're looking to make a name for yourself, then why not go to the best, and that's Tony and Guy Hairdressing Academies.
Yes.
How did I do?
You did fantastic.
I wasn't even trying to do that. I'm just like going from the, shooting from the hip, if you will.
You did
Is
a
there a
great
motorcycle
job.
expression that I could use? Like just rolling back on the throttle or something?
Yeah, taking off, like kickstarting your career
Well,
in
I
high
don't
gear.
know. I was just sort of going, going with it because, it's just the way it was flowing.
It did, and it flowed perfectly.
Well, okay, if
Maybe.
you say so. I just
Okay.
sort of don't believe you, but I'll tell you what flows perfectly.
Yeah, what's
The
that?
heat.
Oh, gosh. It just rolls
But-
off your back like something else.
That's true. That's not the heat. The sweat rolls off your back like something else. That's probably what you meant to say, right?
I did, yeah.
But the heat is just really, I mean, we are here. And it's, normally, I guess if you guys are in Florida, we haven't got any rain.
No, it's been
May
so
is,
extremely
they always
dry.
say April showers bring May flowers, but here, from my experience, and this is just mine, in Florida, it always seems like it rains in May.
In June.
And
July.
of course in June. But the rains really begin in May. But we haven't really had any significant rain here in Florida so far this year. But we have had heat. And it's been up to over 90 degrees. Is that right? A lot,
yes.
going really 90 degrees. So it's really been hot. And so that brings up something that we really need to pay close attention to. I had to learn the hard way. I've gotten some good advice from this as far as being properly hydrated no matter what you're doing out there in the sun. And, what do you got to say, Deb? I mean, you're over there like sticking your finger in my eye.
No, because hydration, it kind of crept up on us on a pretty big trip in a way that I didn't expect. And so, what I loved is that Kate, in her infinite wisdom, gave us a pretty good saying that I'd love to pass on to everyone else.
Kate, who's Kate? Kate is somebody that's a follower
Kate's
on our
a listener
Facebook page.
and a follower on our Facebook page. Yep. So Kate is a great friend
Kate.
that we met in Virginia. And she simply said, "Don't wait, just hydrate." So I love that little saying.
That's great.
And, that's the thing. We found ourselves kind of waiting to stop on this trip to DC. And I don't want others to kind of learn the hard way either. So it was, don't wait, just hydrate.
Says Kate.
Yep, says Kate.
Is that a rhyme? Is that a poem? I don't know. What would I know? I'm just, me.
So thank you, Kate, for that little catchy phrase that will remind us all, though.
So how did you come to know Kate?
Well, Kate was a friend of a friend that we went to. A friend
of a friend.
Well, we went to Fredericksburg, Virginia, through the acquaintances of business.
You're having a hard time spitting this out. It's like you're being very I can't think of the word right now. Cloak. You're like cloak and dagger kind of speak or something.
Well, we were on a cruise earlier. We shared a little bit with our audience, and then we met another couple that were motorcyclists. They invited us up to the final Rolling Thunder event. This is the 32nd event of Rolling Thunder, and we'll get into a little bit of that for our listeners that maybe didn't have a chance to listen quite yet. And so Shannon and Kevin invited us to come.
Oh, now you're revealing names. Finally, there's no cloak and dagger things like you're trying to hide things.
Well, that's the way I am. I'm kind of stealthy that way.
No, I don't know, but I think you're more like just blonde that way.
Okay, maybe. So that's okay. Call it what you will, but it is who I am. I know you will. You just call me on the carpet.
What's calling the carpet? Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway,
what does that mean, calling on the carpet?
Shannon and Kevin invited us up. We took them up on that offer. Went to Fredericksburg, Virginia.
This sure is a long story to tell me how you met Kate. Who is Kate?
Kate is a next door neighbor that lives across the street from Kevin and Shannon. And so, the great thing was that they did a couple of really great neighborhood things that I thought were wonderful. And the important part of that is it was really about bringing community together at a time and an event and a holiday when there was a lot of recognition and a lot of very important.
Are you going to cry or something? No. I mean, all of a sudden you're just like, real quiet and down. I mean, what's that about?
Well, I'm bringing everybody back to reality.
Well, come on. We don't want to. Who wants to be in reality?
But this community, it was impressive because this neighborhood and community, they're really great friends, and they partied together and they celebrate together and they had a great time. So, Kate, thank you for that saying.
That's right. Don't wait, hydrate. So, Chuck, don't wait, hydrate. I love it. I love it. Thank you. We gotta have more people giving us input like that.
Absolutely. So if anyone else has a great little catchphrase that you remember to hydrate, or do something on your motorcycle.
So, there we go. Long story to get around to. The heat is out there. The heat is upon us. So the whole idea here is you got to be out there. You got to be hydrating because you don't. I talked to the guy the other day. I was talking about he passed out. He said he from dehydration fell over, hit his head on something.
It just kind of crept up on him too. It sounded like from the same thing.
I want to talk to the guys, especially you guys. If you're like me, you think you're some badass dude or something, and you don't need to hydrate. Well, I guess maybe the older I get, the more I need to hydrate. I don't know. But anyway, it's never occurred to me before. I never had any problems like this before. But I never thought about the situation. I'm not going to go back over what we had to go through in Jacksonville and the whole ride and how we rode those many hours. And really, I only had a few bottles of water when you think about it. In essence, that's all I really had when I probably needed a whole heck of a lot more, including some electrolytes.
Right. And I think thinking back to the circumstance, what we could have done differently is hydrated the night before, knowing
That's true.
We didn't know the heat was going to be as extreme as it was. And again, we didn't anticipate that long of a day on the road. And so if we would have been a little bit more prepared the night before and drank thoroughly the day before, we probably wouldn't have maybe experienced it quite as extremely as we did. So that, again, another good tip for the road when you're out there on these long road trips. Make sure you hydrate the night before, and then be sure and stop often, and don't wait, just hydrate, as Kate has shared with everyone.
So true. And it's a good time to take those rides on the beach, isn't it?
Beautiful time for rides.
But because speaking of the heat, you want to do that, as bikers, we got to, decide now when we're going to ride, because you're not going to necessarily get out there at 2 and 3 of the afternoon. If you do, more power to you. I mean, hopefully you're not starting then. I mean, riding around a little bit is okay. But as far as getting out there, the best times to ride, in my humble opinion, would be like the first thing in the morning, maybe late in the evening. And just think about it. I mean, around 6 o'clock, still have a couple hours of riding time. And you could get a good ride in late in the evening. It'd be a little bit hot starting off, but you'd be cooling off coming home, and it would be real nice. So just be real safe out there. Understand that the heat is serious, as a serious element, and maybe pick the times where you want to go riding, and get out there on one of those beach rides. I like the beach rides.
I love the beach rides.
One of my favorite beach rides,
tell
and
everybody.
it's going over the Skyway.
Okay.
Then going to Treasure Island.
Okay.
And then to one of my favorite places, Ricky T's for breakfast.
That's a great ride. It's along the beach. It's along the coastline.
Yeah.
Beautiful, and a fabulous breakfast at Ricky T's. So we'll give them a big shout out. One of our favorite little spots to stop.
Yep. And then we'll ride north or do whatever we got to do up there. And it's just a great spot. We'll go over to the American Legion up there.
That's a great
beautiful
stop,
American
too,
Legion up there. I love it up there. They have the nice post up
huge
there.
Deck
It's great.
right on the water.
Oh, it's right there.
Intercoastal.
You can't really beat that.
Fabulous.
If you haven't been up there, if you're an American Legion member, you want to go up there and check that out.
If not, if you have a friend that's an American Legion member, you can tag along with them and say, "Hey, let's go check it out
what's
together."
Going on, because it really is nice. It's being right on the water,
spot.
and it's usually packed, and they have a lot of live music, very good entertainment that's there. The bartenders are really good. I wouldn't know anything about the the bartenders are really good.
And riding,
the bartenders are really good. They're very experienced. They've been around for a while.
Yep.
Probably if we go back up there today, it's probably the same bartenders.
Yeah.
So that means something's going on right up there.
Again, kind of a nice place to sit back, kick back, take a look. Enjoy the water, kind of our area, and have a great ride up and back.
And then the other great ride for a beach ride, where we're talking about riding, is Anna Maria Island, right?
Yes.
And then we take that over to Longboat Key.
Yes, and down to St. Armand's Circle,
Armand
kind of wrap around and come right back up the same beach ride
maybe
back.
go up to, what's that, Lido Beach? Maybe go out to Lido Beach and then turn the bikes around and then go back the other way and then stop off at the
Old Salty
Dog,
It's
which,
a great
by the way,
spot.
the West Coast Florida riders are having Babes and Bikes. I can't remember what it is. Babes and Bikers.
Brunch with the Babes.
Brunch with the Babes.
Woo!
And
that's June 15th.
June 15th.
So if you're
so we're going to
in
try
the
to
area,
make that. That'd be cool, especially if we, get that ride in, because I really enjoy that ride. Because we go all the way down there and then we turn around and we'll stop there to get something to eat.
Yep.
And then we'll head back up and do the beach ride on the way back. And it's just a great ride. That's what you got to love about being here in Florida. You have all this that you're able to experience. And the traffic's not very bad this time of the year, especially if you get out first thing in the morning.
Right. Once you get to the beach, you're kind of in a good place. So you got to get out there early and enjoy that.
We've been out there where some of the traffic on Anna Maria Island has been backed up, and I just had to ride over the top of most of the vehicles.
Yeah. Right over the top?
Yeah, I pop the wheelie and there's, go one over the other.
Evel Knievel right over them?
Well, pretty much.
I think so. You gave him a run for his money, I think.
If you believe that, I'll keep on going. We got some swampland. Even though we found out that swampland, you could actually build on it, because apparently Puerto Rico, most of it was built on swampland.
Yeah.
So if you got swampland, it's not all that bad.
Goodness
you know
gracious.
how to build on it.
Interesting stories.
I don't know where are you going?
I don't know, but that was
how
really
did you get there?
I'm not so sure, but the one thing I want to share
You're not
with
so
you,
sure.
you take me all over the place.
I want to take you all over the place,
I know
believe me.
you do. I love it about you. You keep me all off
you do?
track
Okay.
and on focus. So
all right.
Back on track, Chuck. Back on track,
Chuck. Okay.
Yeah, so
that's difficult.
Just a lesson learned about that island ride. You're talking about that traffic coming back. I actually had someone in my class that had been a rider for a long time. He's got a long story behind it, but he ran into that traffic out on the island and decided to do something that us as motorcyclists are not supposed to do, which
What
is
is that?
ride up the sidewalk because his motorcycle was overheating.
Oh, boy.
And, of course, he saw the nice red and blue lights flashing behind him, decided to do what was right and pull over, knew the police officer that pulled him over, and they kind of had a good conversation, but he just basically told him it was against the law and he shouldn't be doing that. And even though his motorcycle's going to heat, just pull over, chillax a little bit, which is one of my favorite words. Just chillax, let the traffic go, and move on when it's time.
And that, in my opinion, is a bunch of BS. I'm not going to pull over and chillax when I'm in traffic.
I know you're going to stress out and holler and find any way around it.
I was just about ready to ask you what should we have done, but you're just going to tell me to pull over and chillax.
Chillax.
Who's going to pull over and chillax in the heat while your bike's overheating? It sure the hell ain't going to be me.
Find a palm tree to sit under or something. I don't know.
I'm sorry, I just don't have the patience for that kind of thing.
I know.
It's just not going to happen.
Okay, so...
I mean, there's got to be another solution. You got to ride over the top of the cars.
yeah, I guess that's
right.
it. That's the only option.
No, there is no option.
Okay, so there is no option.
So
besides...
sometimes it's going to happen. We're going to get caught in it. So maybe the option is somebody who's able to do that sits under a palm tree.
I will do that, maybe. Or not.
Anyway, maybe this is some dilemma we can't solve on this show right now.
Everyone will have a different way of doing things.
Because I know, I mean, after what we went through in Jacksonville, I'm going to find another way.
Absolutely, I know that too.
And that's the first thing that pops in my mind. Okay, is there a side street he could have taken?
Route.
Maybe he could have got on the sidewalk real quick and then taken a right and went to the left and went to the back road up the other way.
Could have been, but didn't think about it. And you know what? That's probably what we would do.
I often think,
around.
we need special consideration, us as bikers. I did think that on the highway while I was riding. We need to have special consideration. I mean, we are outside, and we are outside the elements. We don't have the protection of an automobile covering us from the elements. So should motorcyclist
yeah, get it
have,
out, will ya?
I was playing around.
I know.
Should we have special consideration, especially in special situations?
So instead of like an HOV lane, an MC lane?
Possibly.
Hey, I like that.
Possibly. Or could, when you have incidents that happened in Jacksonville when things are backed up and, because I don't remember if I told that story or not about the crotch rockets. I don't think I did.
Okay.
All right. We're going to tell that story when we get back. We're going to go take a break and get right to our sponsor.
If you're looking to either sell or buy a home in the Bradenton, North River area, contact Deb Bell to help make your dreams come true at Reynolds Realty. Call Deb Bell, 941-713-5035. That's 941-713-5035, or online at parishfl.com. For all of your real estate needs, call Deb Bell.
I'm Chuck.
And Deb.
And welcome back to the Chuck-n-Deb show. Hey, listen, I want to go where I just left off.
Okay.
About the crotch rockets.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sport bikes.
In Jacksonville. I'm not
Let's be
sure.
technically correct.
Okay, well.
Sport bikes.
You call them what you want, I'll call them what I want, all right?
Okay,
all right.
fine. Crotch
so
rockets.
Anyway, we're in Jacksonville. I'm not going to tell the whole story. We're backed up in traffic. I've been in traffic all day. I'm dripping wet, sweat. I'm hot. I'm about ready to pass out. These crotch rockets.
And their infinite wisdom, sport bikes.
There you go. Thank you. Decided they wanted to split the lane. So
Yes.
everybody's parked, and I'm not sure if it's really technically splitting the lane, but they're going down the middle of the lane.
That's a split.
Okay, so nobody's driving, so is it really a split?
It is, because we still have lanes.
Okay. Anyway, so they're going down the middle of the lane, and there happens to be a Harley guy. He's back to my right about a couple of car lengths, and I'm sitting there, and I tell Deb, I'm going to go. I'm going to go. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go. I'm going to go. And actually, I think I did tell the story. And I said, I'm going to go, and I'm going to go. And I just didn't go. And I didn't go. And the reason I didn't go is I didn't want to give Harley riders a bad name. That was my rationale. But I was so hot and so wanted to really just get out of that traffic, and that's what brings us back. That's why they should have made some kind of special, I want to be treated special.
MC lane. So then what we heard was coming through that middle lane, splitting the lane. Guess what? We just couldn't do it.
No, we didn't do it. Anyway,
Didn't do it.
I do remember now sharing that story. So for those of you who heard it again, I hope it was the same.
It was an abbreviated version.
Yeah,
and
just
it was
real
great.
quick.
Yeah. But
So anyway, all right, let's go ahead and move on here, and let's get into some content that you want people to know about, Deb.
Well, as I was doing some research, we've been really digging, trying to find the final numbers of Rolling Thunder so
Yep.
that we could share that with everyone, because it was something that was really an important aspect of this last event. This was the 32nd annual ride
Right.
for Rolling Thunder. And it's supposed to be an amazing event, which it was, and I will certainly give it that.
Well, you said that it's going to be the last one. I think there's some controversy about that, isn't there?
Oh, there is. So let's dive into that a little bit.
Not that we know a whole lot about it, but we've seen some things that make us wonder really what's going on
What in
and
the
what
heck?
the truth is. But it seems sort of evident that the guy that's in charge of the Rolling Thunder,
Yep, which is the New Jersey National Chapter, and that's Artie Muller, is the one that's been very outspoken about the event, and he very clearly and very adamantly continues to say this was the last National Rolling Thunder event.
and why? Because they're going to try to do regional events, right?
Yeah, so there are 90 chapters of the Rolling Thunder organization, and so the national chapter's philosophy is that it needs to go back to kind of a more local, oh gosh, I just lost the word, blonde. Call me blonde, please.
Local support?
Local
I don't
supporting
know.
event. It's, it's not really an event, but it's a demonstration. And so, their belief is that it really needs to go back to a more local demonstration on Memorial Day moving forward in 2020.
And the demonstration being what? So that we don't forget the MIAs and POWs?
Absolutely right. So it's
Okay.
acknowledging that
Or the
still
other way
exists today and that they're not forgotten and not left behind, because those family members really need some closure.
Do you blame them?
And no, not at all. And, kind of thinking that if we were in that same situation, I would want some demonstration to acknowledge that exists.
And that's been for every war. There have been
Correct.
people left behind.
Yes.
And that's what this is really about when it comes down to it, about Rolling Thunder, because they want to keep this in the forefront and not forget our brothers and sisters that have been left behind.
that paid the ultimate price. And so for me personally, I'm just going to speak to my own personal opinion, is I believe that on Washington, D.C., where all of those monuments reside, that's really where the remembrance is most critical.
Well, I think that's the big controversy right now. I think some of the things that we read, some people were saying, hey, let's do the regional. There's nothing wrong with the regional, but let's at least once a year come together in D.C. and let everybody know and just come together as one. And it's sort of like a convention if you think about it.
Yeah.
It's like all the individual chapters. We all have the individual chapters, but yet
We
all the
unite.
chapters have a convention at the end of the year. Like the Hog Chapter. The Hog Chapters has, all these chapters across the United States, around the world, in fact, and then they have these conventions. Once a year, we always have a Hog Chapter convention. I don't know if that's what it's called, hog rally.
Hog officer training.
No,
or
it's
so
a
there's-
hog rally.
and
It's a
those are-
hog rally.
And those are more geographical by region as too. So, the thing of that is, and maybe that's where they're getting the philosophy from on a local level, is that it's really much more manageable and much more cost effective on a local level than it is on a national level.
Well, that's what
So-
they're citing, is that the whole idea is that it was costing too much for security and other issues. And according to Artie or Mr. Mueller, or however you pronounce his name, that the Pentagon wasn't being very helpful.
So
Now,
some statistics.
now I'm going to say something. Hold on. You can spout your statistics.
Okay.
But what I'm going to say is that when we were at the Pentagon,
Yes.
the ride up there, I did not, and I probably said this on the last one too, and I apologize. The ride up there, the law enforcement didn't seem really enthused to have us there.
Correct.
But the Pentagon people, they were the most helpful. So I see a contradiction in what is being told from the upper echelons of Rolling Thunder and what I see on the ground. Now, I understand that there's a difference between those who are working on the ground and those in upper management or in the command of the Pentagon. So
Complete
I get
leadership,
that.
yeah.
But what I want to be heard is those on the ground that worked at the Pentagon did not have attitudes that I saw.
From what we saw, and in all fairness, we didn't really go through the normal process either of parking in those Pentagon parking lots. So, statistically, I heard and saw that it costs $200,000 to park us in the Pentagon parking lots for that one event alone.
Well, do you know that by you researching that somebody's going to tell you that that's all they paid was $200,000? Some people are saying, oh, that wasn't enough. You guys were given a discount. You're really not paying exactly what you're supposed. Yeah. Did you know that?
No, but I can
that's
see
what the people
that.
are saying
That's
out there.
the controversial
but
side of it.
I'm not going to go into what we went into last time. It seems like we're recapping some things, because this is where I'm going to say, hey, the economic improvements, the what they got from people being in D.C., from all the money influx, made a huge difference.
And I think when it comes down to it, the bottom line is that the sacrifice that was paid by the POWs and MIAs that are being acknowledged on that day is a price that can never be repaid. It doesn't matter how much it costs. So the controversy, kind of getting back to that original controversy, is the Washington, D.C. Rolling Thunder group doesn't believe that it needs to go back to the local chapters.
I'm not sure you can say that.
So they don't
I'm not sure that you can say that, because you haven't seen any. You might have seen somebody say certain things, but you haven't heard them say that. What they did is they distanced themselves from the New Jersey chapter, the national chapter.
Okay.
They distanced themselves by saying, I don't have it right here, by saying that what is being said, they do not
agree with. And
that's basically it's not the same, and I don't have it down here.
But they're not on the same page. And so the difficulty is that, these are two different sectors kind of supposing to come together on this one particular event, and it just didn't happen. And so I can understand from our perspective as the outside that's maybe just wanting to support the cause, and it's confusing and does create a lot of controversy, and so we're not sure where to go. But I am sure that all of us that are loyal to this cause of Rolling Thunder, we will be following this for the year to come, and we will make sure that if there is a representation that needs to take place, that we will all be present next year for Memorial Day.
I think it might even be bigger than this year, which would be fantastic. And going back to what they said, is they basically said that the comments do not reflect the purpose, intention, or political affiliation of the Rolling Thunder of Washington, D.C., which is the founding organization of Rolling Thunder Run. And that's what they're said, Rolling Thunder Run.
Yep.
So, there you have it. There is some controversy. There's something going on there. There's a lot missing that maybe all of us aren't aware of. Who knows? Maybe there's a personality clash.
Could be.
With the Pentagon and who they're working with. It could be that. It could be, maybe these guys are getting older.
Yep, and maybe there's just a leadership challenge between the chapters and national.
I hate
and all
to
that.
say it, guys. Are you guys? I'm going to go out there. Are you guys getting older? And you're just afraid to? I don't want to say afraid. Let me strike that. Are you getting older and you just don't want to relinquish what you have and allow somebody to step up to take care of it? I don't know what it is. I wish we knew. That's why I'm sitting here speculating. I don't want to condemn or be down on anyone. And I apologize if I offend anyone by saying, are you getting older? But it does make me wonder, have you maybe been, maybe you are the founder and maybe there's founder disputes and you don't feel like you should get out of the way. Maybe it's time. I don't know. I'm not saying.
Right.
I'm not saying
we're
either
not
way.
sure about what it is. We just know there's controversy going on.
But see what is being reflected in me and what I'm saying is what a lot of us are feeling out there right now. Because you can go out to the Facebook and you can read the comments and people want to know what's going on.
Right.
People, as you said, Deb, believe in this cause.
Yes.
They want to support this cause. And it's a great cause. It's something that none of us should ever forget about. I mean, prisoners of wars and missing in action, that is something that these people, they sacrificed for us. And some of them maybe still be alive. I'm sorry, I don't know the facts, but some of the prisoners of war, prisoners of war right now.
Correct.
Okay? And so, we got to keep these people in our thoughts and our prayers and our memories. And one of the ways is doing that is through this ride. So I don't know. Maybe we've beaten this up pretty good.
And
I'm probably going to get a lot of hate mail and all sorts of other stuff. But listen, the whole thing here is what we'd like to hear, and I think what a lot of people would like to hear is a clear message. And maybe maybe, just maybe, we just haven't found what that clear message
Messages
is.
yet.
And maybe we've seen the clear message and we aren't hearing it.
Could be. So
Okay,
stay tuned.
maybe we don't want to hear what Mr. Mueller, what's his name, Artie
Mueller,
is saying. Maybe it's just us who don't want to take that as the answer.
Maybe.
So it could be a number of things, but I just think maybe there needs to be, the organization needs to come together as a whole.
Yes, I agree with that.
And decide what's going on. I mean, the organization that we're talking about here is Rolling Thunder, Washington, D.C. And so that is just a chapter.
Correct. From what
underneath
I understand, the Rolling
the
Thunder
national
national organization.
So they can spout whatever they want to think, but it's not showing unity, and that's what sort of
That's
a
challenging as someone on the outside, right?
Okay.
So stay tuned, and I'm sure that we'll have more answers as we go. Rider Coach Deb here with your tip of the day. I am Deb, your certified Harley Davidson rider coach, with the tip of the day. So before you start your rider's course, a couple of things that I think are important for you to think about. The night before you begin your course and your actual range exercises, there are a couple of things that you want to make sure you think about and things that you don't think about, because what you think about prior to going to sleep is going to make or break the rest of your day. So here's a couple of things to think about right before going to sleep that are going to make sure you succeed on your course. So first of all, you want to go to sleep with a attitude of gratitude. So think about the good attributes, the things that you are skilled at, and the reason that is driving you to take your rider's course. And secondly, the most important aspect is that you want to envision yourself with success on that course. Things that you want to make sure you don't consider that night before, because guess what happens when you go to sleep? That subconscious mind continues to work, and when you wake up, that comes to fruition. So a couple of things you want to make sure and warn yourself about the night before is be sure and don't think about if you have a worry of the class and or course, don't let that worry be part of your mindset prior to going to sleep. And don't dwell on any bad experiences. If you have been in an accident or know someone that's been in an accident, don't even give it a second thought. Their experience does not equal yours. So if you continue to envision your success and how you're going to master this course, chances are you're going to be successful. So that's Coach Deb with your tip of the day.
Hey, I like that, Deb. That's something new that we're going to try to implement here so that we can give you tips on better riding experiences. And as Deb mentioned, she is a certified riding coach for Harley Davidson. Did I get that right?
You did, yes.
Okay. You know, I want to just talk a little bit about that because I agree with it. And guess what? We raised our girls, and what did we raise them to think? What you think about?
You bring about.
And what you speak about?
You bring about.
So,
and there are certain words that were not permitted in our household.
That's right. We didn't have certain words.
Yep.
What was the biggest word that was not allowed in this house?
Can't.
Or our house?
Can't.
That's
that
right.
was never allowed in
We're
the
not
vocabulary.
allowed to say I can't. All right? And we don't want you to use that word can't either. So you can ride if you have a hint of thinking or dreaming of riding a motorcycle maybe once. Maybe more than that if you get it on it once, I guarantee you. But if you have a dream, a desire to do that, don't say I can't. Say I can. And so that's what takes me back. I really appreciate what you had to say. But there's something, as you were talking about that stood out to me. Whenever someone says don't, what happens, Deb?
You do the don't.
You do the don't. Thank you for getting that. I'm glad you actually got that. I mean, we didn't really talk about that or anything, but I'm so glad you're really on top of that. I don't like the don'ts.
I know.
But I understood the don'ts, and you did really good because you followed it up with this is what you want to do.
Yes.
So we as human beings have a tendencies we focus more on the don'ts. Because the don'ts are what? They're the fears.
Yes.
Just think about when you're growing up. Your parents told you when you're little bitty infants crawling around, don't do this, don't do that, don't.
Right.
All right? So at least that happened to me. I don't know if it happened to you.
I think it happened to me too, so you're not anything weird.
So the whole idea is basically just to focus on what you want to accomplish. And what it is that you want to accomplish in what you just went over, Deb, was you want to accomplish passing the course with flying stars or with rolling wheels or flaming, I don't know. I'm not really good.
Exhaust,
I've got to learn how to
be.
I've got to learn how to be more articulate.
Okay. So
maybe somebody can help me.
Well, maybe. We recently ran across some online stuff for this pretty articulate motorcyclist. What made her slightly different, though, than what we do is she's a sports bike person.
Yeah, she is. She's a crotch rocket, you mean?
She's a crotch rocket. She's a Ducati girl all the way.
I never thought of a Ducati as a crotch rocket, but, I guess they always have been.
Yeah, when you're leaning over the tank and your feet are kind of to the rear of you, that seems like kind of a
She did look good on it.
Did she?
I thought so. You didn't think so?
Well, not my
Not only
taste,
the bike, but the
bike
looked
was
nice.
beautiful. She did a great job on the motorcycle, but anyway.
I mean, she handled it very well. I would agree.
Yep, she loves to ride. So that's
what it's all about. It's about, and that's who she is.
Right, getting up on two wheels and getting on the road and being who you are on your motorcycle.
She made a lot of comments that actually really
resonated
hit home with
you
me big time.
So who we're talking about today is Motolady, and Motolady is Alicia Elfing. And what her thoughts and processes were is she wanted to replace the bad reputation of the sport of motorcycling and hobby. And it's racked up over the years to be something that's very positive in her life. And so she actually was a phenomenal inspiration to me because what she did, she worked for a dealership, and the dealer, she tells this story in one of her videos, but the dealer brought in this beat up, kind of rundown Ducati and said, "Hey, do you want this?" And she spent the next 3 years bolt by bolt, screw by screw, replacing every piece of that Ducati. And if you get a chance to go out and look for the Motolady, she did an amazing job. It is a phenomenally beautiful motorcycle, even though it's not the kind of motorcycle that I ride personally. But it's absolutely a phenomenal motorcycle. And she truly has a passion for riding and motorcycling. So, Chuck, as we kind of listened to her and learned a little bit more about her story, there was one thing she talked about. There was an author called Hunter S. Thompson. And as she was doing some research on him, she ran across this article from him called The Song of the Sausage Creature. And I had to listen to that article auditorially earlier today just because the name of it is just intriguing to me. Who in the world names an article The Song of the Sausage Creature? But it was pretty fascinating. He's a cafe racer, the gentleman that did that. And what I thought was fascinating about it is he was actually contacted by Cycle World, and they called him to ride test the most up-to-date version back in 2012, the Road King edition. And so he actually said no to test riding the Road King, the Harley Davidson Road King, because he was standing true in his true character of being a sport bike person and didn't want to jump on that Harley Davidson and do a test ride. So there was one tattoo that she had that I thought was pretty amazing, and I think you resonated. You could probably talk more about this, Chuck.
I don't know that I can really talk about it because that takes a memory.
Well, the tattoo says...
Well, I guess I know where you're going with it. What it had to do with was speed.
Yes.
And when she started to talk about it, I was just like, she gets it. She's nailed it here because it's exactly how I feel. All right. We know we're all not supposed to speed on the road and that kind of thing. But there is a time that every once in a while you just feel like you've got to get that in you and you got to be safe about it. And I just love the feeling of the horsepower and the feeling of speed. And so what is it? I know that you've got it here, Deb, but when she said it, it really resonated. I'm like, that is so right on. And I think that most of the riders that are listening right now are going to agree with it.
Probably agree with that. So this actually was a quote that came from Hunter S. Thompson from his article in the Smoking Tire 2012 called From the Song of the Sausage Creature. And the phrase goes like this: faster, faster until the thrill of speed overcomes the fear of death.
Anybody that rides, I think, that can resonate with you. And Deb, I want you to read it one more time and a little bit slower.
It goes, faster, faster until the thrill of speed overcomes the fear of death.
And, for me, it's just like here's what it's about, guys. Think about this a second. It's about being in the moment. It's about being in the moment. That's really what it comes down to. It's about experiencing the experience and being in the moment, and you have no fear of death. And it's not that a lot of us go out there and we fear death and we're thinking about that or even thinking about it. And most of the time we're we're not thinking about it, but we know that's a possibility every time we get on the bike, but we don't think about that. But, there is that if you've never done it before and you get that fear spot, it's that breaking. It's sort of like, I don't know, maybe it's sort of like when you break the zone. What's it called? The
sound barrier.
The sound barrier.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like when you just break that sound barrier and you just got to go burst right through it, and it takes you through, and then boom, you're through it. It's like just breaking through, I guess you might say.
Yeah, you kind of go to another level.
Yeah.
And, as we talked about that, because she has it tattooed on her forearm, which I thought was pretty cool. And so, you had mentioned to me, Deb, you probably just can't understand what that's all about. And, when I thought about that, I probably can't understand what it means to you, because faster to you is very different than a faster is to me. But I know that I feel that same breakthrough and aha and freedom that I feel in my own place when I hit that threshold for myself.
Yeah, everybody has, each and every one of us have their own threshold, obviously. And I think it's just a matter of getting through that and experience and ride your ride. You don't have to go out there and do this. You don't have to do anything. But there was a lot that, and we didn't tell about how, I was just searching around, and I actually introduced her to Deb. I said, hey, check out this. Let's check here. She's got fabulous. She's got I don't know what she got, almost 400,000 followers on Facebook.
Yeah, she's amazing.
She's done all sorts of different, you just name it, she's done it. She's been in every magazine, on all these commercials. She's got videos, and she is an entrepreneur, and she works for herself, and she's doing what she loves.
She's passionate about motorcycling, and she's passionate about photography of motorcycling. Yeah. So that's, phenomenal. And the photography she has is absolutely beautiful photos.
I mean, you got to hand it to her. She just really knows how to do this, and she is very articulate.
Yep, she certainly is. And, as I listened to her again today on a couple of different things and learned more about her, she talked about once she puts that helmet on and the quiet of the helmet. Now, of course, on a sport bike, you can just envision she probably has to wear a full face helmet, which she does. And we'll talk more about helmets at another time. But even for us, when we put our helmet on and we hear for me, I'm just going to speak for me, that I hear the rumble of that engine and I put some familiar tunes maybe in my ears. That backdrop gets me into a completely different mindset, a completely different place than anywhere else that the day may have brought. And so, the importance of that is knowing when it's time to get on and do a ride, when it's time to kind of get centered and focused and find your place again, find your center. And that's really as crazy as it is, the rumble of the loud pipes and, music in your ears and all that stuff. But it's interesting how that really can take you from a place of stress and strife of all of the day's lives, and all of a sudden you're in a place where you're right where you need to be, feeling all the right things that you need to feel.
It's very meditative, if that's a word. Is that right? Is that the right word? It's like meditation. It's like,
it is,
we're not out there with our eyes closed and our legs crossed.
Thank goodness.
But we are in, it's a transition. It's you can actually get on that bike and you transition from what's going on in the world today, and you're actually able to go out there and sort of get lost, if you will, in your mind. Not that if you haven't experienced riding, for those of you that do ride, we know you get it. For those of you, and I always like to talk to those who haven't ridden, because you're the people we want to touch. If you have any hint of riding, you got to give this a try. If you enjoyed riding a bicycle when you were a child, you're probably going to like riding this. Riding a motorcycle
is like nothing else. And it's so difficult to kind of relay what it's like to someone that hasn't experienced it yet. So come on out and experience it with us.
But isn't that why they have wind therapy?
Yes.
It's the same thing.
It
and
is.
you know, that actually brings up that show that we watched the other day. Do we have the name of it? Because if not, we're going to skip right past it, and we'll have to come back to it when we get the name. It was Sergeant Will. We're going to have to come back to it.
We'll have to come back to it.
But it was a great show. It was about a veteran who was homeless on the road. He actually ended up stealing a motorcycle, and you've got to watch the show, and we'll get the name maybe on the break when we go.
Yeah.
But that's was a really, really, really powerful show.
So, you know, the other thing that I think that we both have a common thread, and one thing that I really liked about her and her program and what was really motivating her is that she talks about a stigma in the motorcycling world. And that's really what, you know, the Chuck-n-Deb show is all about, is there's this mindset that people on the outside look at motorcyclists in one particular way. And and one thing that she shared, I thought that was really critical, is that, you know, we're always focused on the end, like the accident.
This was
really an aha moment. So, you know, so many times in life we're focused on what's coming at the end. Oh, there might be an accident, or we might not make it at the end of the day. And so what her talk about was, when she was describing it, is it's all about we focusing on the journey. And, you know, as you related to earlier, Chuck, is there something that, you know, we all can relate to, which is, you know, focusing on that dash. It's not.
Yeah, I didn't really want to quite go there. I think, if I heard you correctly, you explained that she was talking about how there's a misconception with a lot of people, and what they think of is they think of, you know, what they think of as the bad thing about a motorcycle is that you get on it and that's the end. And what she was talking about, it's not the end. It's the journey in between. And I thought that was so profound.
Yes.
It just made a huge, I just loved it. That's why I love this lady. She's fantastic. Hopefully one day we can get her on the show, interview her, and maybe we'll meet her in person, maybe even get to ride with her, which would be fantastic.
That'd be cool.
I think my Dinah could take on her Ducati.
I'd like to see that. Let's go.
I'm just kidding, of course, because I don't think that's going to happen, because they are made for speed.
That's for sure. So
My
Alicia
Thumper's made for speed.
Thumper would definitely
Not
give
quite
her a
that
run
kind of
for the
speed,
money. And
but-
the leans are a little different
Anyway,
between the sport
I don't want to
bike.
get offhand, because this is really important of what she said. It really is about the journey. And if you can get past, again, let's go back to those that might be thinking about riding. If you can get past your fear for just a moment and think about what you'll gain in between the experience of riding and what you can take away from it, that's going to be the payoff. And so, Deb, you were bringing up, as I mentioned, this is sort of like the dash. You know, there's a local guy here. I can't remember his name. He's an attorney, and one of the commercials he does, you know, you got the dash. And what is the dash? The dash is from the day you were born, then they put a dash till the day that you die. So what's the important part is the dash and how you live the dash.
The day
so
to day.
We're in the dash.
Yep. Definitely. So, you know, and I think that's so important. So when I get on my motorcycle, it's about that particular ride at that moment. And I think that that's what's critical, that we all really remember at the end of the day. It's, who am I impacting? What experience am I able to pass on to others? Which is a big part of what the Chuck-n-Deb show is all about, is sharing that journey with everyone else. That one, maybe you want to learn how to ride. That's what we're here for. Let us know. We'll be happy to help in any way that we can. Secondly, if you are an existing rider, you know, maybe there are things that just the road has made you forget, or you need to be reminded from time to time about really the way the journey is meant to be for you, and where you're going and how you want to get there and how it's going to all come together. So again, if there's anything we can do, please reach out to the Chuck-n-Deb show, comment, let us know. That's what we're here for.
If you're looking to either sell or buy a home in the Bradenton, North River area, contact Deb Bell to help make your dreams come true at Reynolds Realty. Call Deb Bell, 941-713-5035. That's 941-713-5035, or online at parishfl.com. For all of your real estate needs, call Deb Bell.
All right, welcome back. Hey, as I mentioned earlier, I got the name of the movie that we were watching, and it was Sergeant Will Gardner, and I actually watched it on Netflix. And if you haven't seen it, I would encourage you to see it now. I'm going to ruin it. Am I going to ruin the end for you?
Don't.
Well,
You just got to watch the movie. It was a very good movie.
It was a very enlightening movie, and it will make you think twice about some things. And this guy in the movie, he portrayed, I believe it was an Iraqi vet.
Yes, definitely a military vet for sure.
And he became homeless, as I mentioned earlier. And he started getting into it with a boss that wasn't paying him right. So he ended up taking the boss's motorcycle, and he headed out, and he got some wind therapy. And to me, this is how I perceived it. To me, it was the motorcycle that changed his perspective. And I'm sorry, I'm not spitting that out better.
No,
but
I agree
the
with
motorcycle changed his perspective.
The ride and that wind therapy totally changed. And it was an evolution. It wasn't an overnight situation.
Right.
It was a process that he went through by being on it and experiencing some of the journey.
I mean, when you're doing this, when you're watching this movie, as a biker, you're going to feel what he feels. Mm-hmm. And it's not like the whole show is him riding around on the motorcycle, but you're going to get the gist of that. And then you're going to be enlightened about something. So, Netflix is not paying us, but they should send us a check. But anyway, you should go ahead and check out this movie. The movie is Sergeant Will Gardner. And let us know what you think about it. If you hadn't heard of it before, if you haven't watched it on Netflix, or even if you have, we'd like to know what you thought about the movie. So go out to our Facebook page at Chuck-n-Deb
Show.com.
No, that's the website, Deb.
Sorry.
So Facebook is Chuck-n-Deb.
Deb
If you're
Show.
searching at the top of the page with the little search bar, is Chuck and the letter N, the Deb Show. All right, so I've got to talk about Roku. Does anybody out there have a Roku? All right, anybody listening have a Roku? I'm sure a lot of you have a Roku. All right, we've got a Roku, and we've got something in store for you about a Roku coming soon. We're working on some things involving the Roku. In the meantime, today, I was playing around with the Roku, and I had no idea what all is on that Roku. I mean, did you know that you could actually add private channels to Roku?
I had no idea. As we were flipping through looking for different things, it was just, I'm like, how we had no clue that all of this existed on the Roku. It was crazy.
There's a lot of information out there that you wouldn't believe that people have put together. Again, are we getting paid from Roku? No, but I'll put the affiliate link up on the page. Anyway, the only reason I'm talking about Roku is because we were talking a little bit about Netflix, and then I'm thinking about the Roku experience we had today, where we saw all those different channels there that were out there. This has nothing to do with motorcycles, but who knows? I might be able to find some kind of motorcycle.
Some new motorcycle movie.
But you might be able to find it real soon, too.
Yes, definitely. So be sure and look into your Roku because, and if you find really cool, a movie that may be of interest, please, again, share it with us. We stumble upon things and definitely want to share with you. So be sure and share it back with us.
Yeah, there's a lot of things out there that we're interested in. We want to share with you, and we can take it right back because just because it's named the Chuck-n-Deb Show doesn't mean the show is not about you. As a matter of fact, this show is about you.
All about you.
It's just that we're the guys putting the show on. I'm Chuck.
And
we're just putting the show on.
We're just putting the show on.
But it's about you guys. We just want to bring you good content. We want to bring you good information that will help you make wise decisions and hopefully make you laugh a little bit.
So we're going to kind of...
That was easy. See how easy I can make her laugh?
Always
I
make you laugh.
didn't even poke a button or anything.
Yeah, well, you'll do many of that. Much of that later.
Well,
I don't
people
know.
might get the wrong idea, Deb.
They might, but that's another episode to come too. So one important aspect to consider when you're riding is making sure that when you're riding, you're in a good mood. It's so important that when you're deciding and thinking about getting on that motorcycle, that you're in your best mental mindset possible, because all the distractions that can happen, all of the things that can kind of come to you on that motorcycle, we need to be on our game as we're riding, and things that can impact that, which are important to always consider, is distractions is one big aspect. Whether you're fatigued for the day is another great thing to think about. If you've had an emotional situation, it is not the time to get on that motorcycle and consider going for a ride. You want to make sure that you're, again, at your optimum performance level. And so just those are a couple of things that kind of came to mind as I'm thinking about a ride and where I might want to go and things I may want to do, is that I need to make sure that I'm aware and I'm alert and I am ready for whatever comes my way as a rider. and I have got my game on, because they may not see you, but we need to make sure as a rider that we're doing everything we can to make sure that they see us.
So basically what you're saying here, I mean, you started off and you're talking about being in the right mood for riding. So if you're angry, do you want to go riding? Somebody might say no. I might say yes. Because if you go riding, that wind therapy might cool you down. But you got to understand, when you get on that bike, you're not angry when you ride the bike. Okay? It's the mindset you get on when you ride the bike. So if you're angry and you go to get on your bike, make sure you're not angry when you get on the bike. I think that's what you're talking about the mindset, your proper mood. All right? So, and I'm only using angry because I'm used to being angry. I'm just kidding anyway. But I have been there. So I do have experience and I can talk on it. So the whole idea is not to be angry and get on your bike. I mean, that was just one example. There could be others. Even if you're feeling depressed, maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to go into all the negatives because I don't like negative stuff, all right? The whole idea, the whole thought process that Deb just gave you is that when you get on your motorcycle, have a smile on your face, all right? Know that if you're going to get on there for some wind therapy, then let the wind therapy take its course. Make it happen. Get on there with a smile on your face. And I love it when you can get on your bike. And I know when I get on my bike, that's one of the things I get. And I have this great friend, Jim over there on the Hog chapter, Jim Wilder. Shout out to you. How he always says when we went on the Dragon, how he saw me in his rearview mirror and I had a huge smile. Well, that's true. I'm having a blast when I ride, and that's the great thing about riding is that you get on there and you fall in love with riding. So again, my call to you who have any little inkling, any little thought of riding, take it on. Take on the challenge because it'll be well worth your time. Not only will you take on this huge accomplishment by riding. Hopefully you fall in love with it. And then what's going to happen is when you fall in love with the riding, you're going to be part of a community that's going to fall in love with you. You're going to fall in love with them. Because the motorcycle community, I mean, there are other communities out there, don't get me wrong. I am just saying that the motorcycle community is a loving, embracing community that watches out from one another, cares for one another, and it's just a fantastic way to be part of this human experience.
And who can top that? You're absolutely right. It's a family beyond family, people connected beyond anything else that you could imagine, and connections that just last a lifetime. So riding is definitely an environment and a community that is just worth taking the adventure on. So we would challenge you to do that.
Oh, a challenge.
Challenge.
Hey, if anybody takes on the challenge, we want to know about it.
Yes, be sure and let us know. Either go out to our Facebook page and comment. Let us know you took on the challenge, that you did receive your certification, license, you did the ride, you whatever the case may be. Let us know.
Hey, here's something I want to know. I've met, when we've been out at some biker events, some students that have been students of yours.
Yes.
I want you to hear from you guys. I want to hear from you guys, all right? The nice gentleman, I don't remember his name. You know him.
Yes.
He made some great comments about you, and we just love to hear from you. So, we're not here to really promote our Facebook page a whole lot, but that's the way we communicate. We're on the radio. If you're listening to our podcast, obviously we're on podbean.com, and you can look up the Chuck-n-Deb Show. All you have to do is say, Google, look up the Chuck-n-Deb Show. Or even better, Google, play the Chuck-n-Deb Show podcast. I don't know if it'll work with them twice, so let me try it again with both of us. Both of us. Sorry. Google, play the Chuck-n-Deb Show podcast. So anyway, I say that hoping that your phone will listen and the Chuck-n-Deb Show podcast will begin to play. I think we're about out of time here, Deb.
That's right. We got to wrap
Anything we
this
need to
up?
leave?
No.
I mean, time just is a crunch. I want to stay with everybody. I want to hang out. I want to keep this
know.
show going.
It's so much fun. So we'll be back.
But we'll continue it online, and we are planning a lot of great things to come.
That's right.
We're
going
to work on things that are coming daily. We want you to stay tuned.
Yes.
Pay attention. Follow our Facebook page. Follow our Twitter page.
And share
Get
it
on.
with everybody.
Not just share it. We want you to interact with
Let
us.
us
We want to
know.
know about you.
Yes,
You tell us
please
about
tell
you.
us.
Talk to us. That's what we want the
Send
most.
pictures of your motorcycle
That's right.
to us.
Just send
Absolutely.
pictures of who you are. That's what we want. We want to interact with you, meet you, know you, get to know you, help you, anything that we can do. That's what we're interested in doing. So, but we do have a lot of great plans. Keep an eye out on Roku. Keep an eye out on the podcast because things are going to really be changing. We got a lot of great things coming. We got things in store for you that are in our mind. And again, my name is Chuck.
And Deb.
And thank you so much for tuning in to the Chuck-n-Deb Show.
We'll see you again soon.
You've been listening to the Chuck-n-Deb Show, heard each Wednesday afternoon at 4 p.m. right here on 1490 AM WWPR. We thank you for listening, and we invite you to join us next week.